Good morning, everybody. I'm talking to you from the North Pole, or where Santa Claus allegedly lives. It is cold, it is winter, but I like to make my videos in nature. It's one of my trademarks. That's one of my halls of fame. There is a risk that the battery in my phone will fail, freeze, or that my jaw will freeze, but we will see how much we can do. I want to talk a little bit about Ascension. Ascension is it's one of those fuzzy terms that people in the industry, the spiritual industry, will try to sell you Ascension, and they will have the secrets to Ascension. And my work is all about bringing things back to reality, grounding information, and not getting lost in the illusions. Because even in the Ascension business, there are all of these ideas, paths to Ascension. We as a civilization are ascending. I am ascending. What does that mean? It's very easy to get lost. It's very easy to misunderstand. So my view is that we live essentially in a world of illusions, right? We live in a world of illusions. What is important? What is true? What isn't true? What do we pay attention to? What don't we pay attention to? What do we value? And you have in the world, there are so many things. There are all these threats to our existence, right? There are all these wars. But what is really important? And what is an illusion? Is it the end of the world? Does the world end? That's an illusion. And how do I know that's an illusion? Because I have gone through the process of ascension. And so that's one of the keys. That's one of the reasons why you want to ascend or raise your awareness. Because once you understand things, and this is what I believe ascension is all about, is you understand how things work. What is an illusion and what is real. And not only that, you understand at the higher levels, you understand how the world works. So, having gone through the process, having myself studied shamanism now for over 20 years, since 1999, it is a very rigorous, difficult, and even dangerous study at the higher levels. Because you're not just working with nature, you're working with spirits, you're working with other dimensions, astral realms, and there are dangers in those higher levels of awareness. And so that's a whole different ascension process. So I think there's basically, two ways to approach ascension. There's the ascension for the normal person, because we all have a spirit, we all have a soul, and the soul has a journey as well as the body. The physical person has a journey, and the spirit has a journey. So there are people with a spirit. It's just a basic journey. just going through life. And it's just like, in life, you want to just improve. You want to get better. You start off, if you're in a career, you start off as a clerk. You work your way up to supervisor, manager, right? And maybe you run your own business. Or maybe you're a bigger company, right? Corporations. Now you're manager of a corporation. All of that in the spirit world takes time to achieve, right? You're gaining more proficiency. You're gaining more awareness. What you value, like as you get older, what you value in life changes. And I think anybody over 40 knows this. Like when you're 20, you value certain things. When you're 30, your values change. So your perception changes. The illusions change. If you had a difficult time growing up with your parents, maybe your parents were abusive, one of them was an alcoholic or an addict, or one of them was famous. You had difficulty with that as a child. As you get older, you realize, well, they're just people. They didn't know what the hell they were doing. And they had issues that now you have. Now you have issues, you have addictions. Now you're an adult, you understand, you have this perspective, right? You have perspective. And we say it's because you get older. But I say it's because you've ascended. The term I'm using very lightly, but spiritually, you see things different. You value things different. You understand why your parents did that. Because now you're a parent. Or you want to become a parent. Or you see your parents differently. I think at some point, and not everybody will agree with me, but at some point, you have to, you realize your parents have lied to you, as all parents do, and all kids lie. So you realize that the parents have lied to you just, to get you out of bed, to get you to school, to kind of hide certain problems in the family and certain crazy uncles. And they lied to you. At some point, when you get older, you realize, your parents are a bunch of assholes. And that gives you that liberation from, your attachment to your parents to the next level. And that to me doesn't come with age as much as it comes with spiritual ascension. Your spirit now is no longer seeing things as a child or a young adult. You realize, okay, I'm attached to my parents. I need to grow. And, my parents are a bunch of assholes. And I don't want to be like that. And I'm going to be somebody different, somebody better. I'm going to be better than my parents. That's spiritual to me. That's spiritual. But it comes with age. But age, I don't think it's age. Age doesn't give you wisdom, right? Age comes from your reflection. You're thinking about things. You're analyzing things. You're processing information. You're reviewing memories. You're talking to people. You're researching. All of that, to me, is part of the ascension process. You are removing illusions. What was important to you is now no longer, is it important to me anymore? Just like in a marriage. In a marriage, like when I got married, these things were important. Now I've changed and they're no longer important. Is the marriage able to grow, or do we go our separate ways? I think that is spiritual ascension. And that's, now we've been talking about the normal type of person. We go through these changes. Now, people like me have a much different path, or people on the light workers, they're on a different path because they're more like the professors, right? They're more like people who go to school to study this stuff. You're studying how the world works. You're studying different dimensions. You're studying ancient archaeology. You're studying extraterrestrials. You're doing not only meditation, but you're doing soul travel, soul retrieval. That's a part of Ascension. Now we're talking about the professional ascender, the spiritualist. Soul retrieval, one of the ways where you do gain more, where you can ascend, is when you retrieve pieces of your soul. And you do this by research, study, and ascension. Sometimes pieces of your soul exist on higher dimensions, so that as you need to learn ascension, you need to understand your body, you need to purify, you need to cleanse your body, cleanse your mind, you need to remove negativity from your life, right? You're now burning incense, and now you're doing spiritual ascension, and you're awakening. Now, one of the first phases of awakening is this: you see all possibilities, okay? One of the first ones, it's like, I am everything. I am connected to everyone. I am the universe. And then people will write a book about that. I am the universe. We are one. And sometimes it's so profound, and many people share this, that they think, well, that's it. That's everything. That's the end of ascension. I've ascended. I've seen it all. I'm the universe. What's bigger than the universe? But unfortunately, that's just one level. Now, one of the issues I have with ascension is because it has these levels, these stages of ascension, that we can get fixated to a stage. It's just like this first stage, all possibilities. Well, anything is possible. You've heard your friends say that. Well, anything is possible. I can do whatever. I can be anything. Right? I can be anything. We don't want to get fixed on a stage. Now, if you're new to Ascension, you'll get fixed on a stage because it's so profound. As you go higher, Ascension is very intimately connected to your sexuality, sexual energy. And because of where it's located, right? The Kundalini. So that the next level, you can get fixated as the energy becomes activated, you can get fixated on your identity or your gender identity, because that's where the energy, the Kundalini, rises through the sacrum. And so your gender now becomes I am my gender. Not that I am all possibility. Now you wake up to the next level, right? After a few months or a few years, my gender. I'm every gender. I'm any gender I want, because now you've opened up. It's like opening up the seal, right? Opening up that little bottle, and you're realizing the illusion of gender. But you can get fixated on that stage, and then you can devote your life to that, just like you can devote your life to all possibilities. My suggestion is we recognize a stage of ascension, and we don't fixate. We can explore, but if you want to ascend, you have to not fixate, because everyone goes through this process. The next level is you understanding yourself, right? Now you're understanding yourself, who I am, what is my purpose here, what is my mission here, right? You're kind of self-actualizing. I'm here for purpose. And then you make changes in your life. You might make changes in your life. What's my purpose? I might change my career. Like you've said, I might change my career. I get out of the industry I'm in, I start a new industry. Get out of the relationship I'm in. make big changes. And that process, right? And so now the Ascension says, I'm here, I realize I'm here to do X, Y, Z. And that's why I went to school. And that's why I grew up in a dysfunctional family. And that's why my father used to punch me in the face. It was all preparation. But this is actually quite accurate. Like we start to realize why you're here. And then you say to yourself, well, okay, that's why all this bad stuff happened to me. And that's why I drove my car off the cliff. We start to rationalize all of the tragedies. Again, I'm not saying anything wrong with that. I'm saying let's not fixate. Let's not fixate on that stage of realizing why you're here. And now you understand your mission. And that process can take years now. It can take years. And understanding your mission, like you might understand your mission when you're 20. But as you go through growth and ascension, in your 40, you have a new revelation, right? And then you make another career change. You're making relationship changes. You're making life choices. And you're going through, usually when you go through a powerful ascension, the aftermath is depression. You're transitioning, you're depressed, you're disassociated from society, you can't relate to people. Sometimes, in some cases, people won't even see you anymore. You're like invisible. But that's because now you've kind of disintegrated from society so that you can go through your process of understanding who you are, reconnecting to your spirit, doing your work. In some cases, in my case, when I sort of woke up and I had to go through the process of learning what I'm doing here, what I'm supposed to do, what are my strengths. One of my process was to teach people. So one of the processes to facilitate my further ascension was to teach as I'm learning. So even though I wasn't an expert, right? I wasn't an expert, but I was talking about all the things I'm just realizing and I'm learning and I'm understanding. I'm not an expert, but I'm teaching, I'm sharing. So that in my case, and other people, that you're sharing stuff, because that is part of the process. That's part of your ascension process. Now, whether in my case, I'm sharing online videos, and later that morphed into books, right? When people wanted more information, I'd do the research and I'd write the books. And this was on top of, my physical life. I would have to work a menial job, minimum wage job. But I was excited to teach and share the stuff I'm learning, the stuff I'm seeing for the first time. I saw something, I understood something, I shared it, right? And that was my process. And some people will make movies. They realize something, they write a script, and their process is to produce this movie, to get this movie made. And they're compelled. Or a documentary, whatever it is. But it's all about understanding yourself. It's all about understanding who you are, what's your process. And the next stage is you get to the next stage where you're like, well, I know who I am. I know what I can do. Now I want to see if I can make changes to reality. I want to start, making changes, right? Setting up businesses, setting up organizations, getting meetings. Now you're actually trying to alter reality, right? To get people to understand, to make changes. So you got these different levels of ascension. And if you get fixated, then you're going to miss out on the other stuff. And it's really, for the spiritualist, you're trying to reassemble your soul. Because when you came here, it's kind of hobbled. In some cases, it's hobbled prior to incarnation. In some cases, it's hobbled by some other beings, according to their plan and according to your plan. And in some cases, it's hobbled by your past lives. So if you're a spiritualist, right, and I'm not going to talk about the generalist, you come here and you need to do the work to assemble those pieces of your soul. And as you assemble, that's when you gain insight and knowledge, and that's when you can do things. That's when you start to do things. That's when you start to understand things. So ascension is a process, and it can take years. Like I've been teaching now for almost 20 years, and there's always lots more to talk about. There's lots more information coming out, and there's lots of things that we haven't discussed that maybe was too advanced. Because when I came out speaking before, I mean, people called me names. 20 years later, I don't get called the same names. So and more people are talking about what I was talking about before. Things I was talking about before now have come into the news. Other people have confirmed it. We're all kind of thinking the same, So it's a process.